Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney. So in today's video I wanted to show you guys how to thread the Brother CP2160W. I'm making this video mainly because I had a question in my previous video that I made on how to thread the machine and how to thread the bobbin. They wondered how to use a twin needle on this, which I had never used, and it made me curious. So I went to Joann's and I bought a twin needle, and I went on Amazon and I got an extra spool pin. It actually came in a pack of 2 spool pins, but I only needed 1. So I wanted to show you guys how I threaded the machine. And just a sampling of what I've sewn so far, just as practice for this machine. So I'll go ahead and flip you guys around and show you how to thread the machine for a twin needle and how to, or at least what I've done so far, with trial and error, of course. As I said, I'm a beginner. I've never done this before, but I think it's coming along pretty nicely. I'm more confident now than I was at the beginning, and I think that what I've led up to is pretty good. So I'll flip you guys around and show you. Okay. Sorry for the lighting issue. I'm filming at very late at night because my son is asleep. So like I said, what I did was I went ahead and bought a twin needle and I put it in the machine, and then I took my extra spool pin and I put it in that hole, and then I put my second spool of thread there. So for the threading of this, I took my red spool of thread and I put it on my machine and I just threaded it as normal. I followed it over to number 1. I went down to number 2, down to number 3, up and around to number 4, and then down to number 5. Now when you're threading this machine, you always want to make sure that this take-up lever is in its highest position. Always remember that. That way your thread will catch. So then I took it down to number 5. I brought my thread, my red thread, back behind this thread holder here. And then I took it down and I threaded the right needle. And then I brought my thread to the back. I followed the same process with my white thread. Took my white thread, went over to number 1, down to number 2, down to number 3, up and around to 4, making sure that my thread was catching the take-up lever, going down to number 5, and this time I did not place the thread behind the thread holder here. I left it loose. The reason being is that the video that I watched on how to do this, that was one of her tips and tricks so that your threads don't get tangled. So then I threaded it through the left needle, brought my thread down into the back. Third step, I took my bobbin thread and I brought it up and I threaded it to the back. So now on my machine here, oh wow, sorry guys, I've got 3 threads pushed to the back. Okay, so with using a twin needle, I have learned through trial and error at least in my experience, you will have to play with your tension. Especially if you're using a knit fabric like I practiced on. I went ahead and set my machine to just a regular straight stitch. My stitch length is 2.5. I'm on a just 0, 0. And so what I did was I took out just a scrap piece of knit fabric that I had. If you guys watched my previous video, I had made a t-shirt for the first time, and this is the material that I used. I got it from Walmart. It was like 2 yards for $2 or something. So I cut a piece off just as practice. Now keep in mind, I didn't play with the tension yesterday. I just kind of sewed a couple lines and like just as a test. So my first thing I noticed immediately is that my tension was not correct. I have puckering or tunneling. As you can see there, it's like a little tiny bubble, and on the back it looked even worse. So I had some issues with my thread getting tangled. So I went ahead and tried it again today. I rethreaded the machine and I have a lot better result. As you can see, this is today's trial and error. So I tried on the first one, second one, and then the third one. Now I'm going to flip this over and show you guys. I had a little bit of issues at the beginning, like I said, before I played with the tension. So this was my first attempt. This was my second attempt. And then this was my third attempt. Now by the third attempt, I had pretty smooth stitches. There was no gathering of the stitches. There was no puckering. It came out very smooth. And on the front here, you can see that my lines look pretty good. So in my situation, I had to play with tension. I can't say what it's going to be like for you guys if you just try this on a regular linen fabric. I haven't tried that yet. This is just a knit fabric that I had extra of. I wanted to just try it out, see what happened. Now, in the video that I watched, she said that you can also do decorative stitches, which would be like these stitches for me. I haven't tried that yet. I may try that when I get more confidence, but for now, I just wanted to thread the machine, make sure that the twin needle worked, and that I could get it to its appropriate settings so that it would sew right. With my tension here, I switched from a 2 to a 3. That immediately stopped the gathering of stitches underneath my fabric. On my machine, I have it set to 0, 0, straight stitch, and my stitch length is 2.5. My stitch width is still 0, 0, because it's a straight stitch, obviously. So I hope that helps you guys on your sewing. It definitely has been a learning curve for me, but I'm really glad that that comment was left on my last video, because I don't think I would have ever thought to try a twin needle on this. but I'm really glad that I did, because now I know I can sew necklines, I can hem shirt sleeves. There's so many things you can do with a twin needle that I learned just by watching here on YouTube. So anyways, I hope this helps you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.